Welcome back to the Sports Influence, where we explore how sport and coaching shape who we are on and off the field. Today's guest is a little different because it's my own brother, Corran Bradley. Corran has represented Great Britain at under 17, under 19, and senior level. Pushed through years of intense training, fierce competition, and even scraps with international rivals to reach the top of his sport. Outside the pool, he's a business graduate and somebody who's managed to balance sport with other parts of his life. In this episode, we talk about his journey from swimming laps in Derby to wearing the GB cap, and also how Waterpolo has shaped him as a person. Let's get into it. This is Corran Bradley on the Sports Influence.
So, Corran, when you think about water polo, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Quite intense, lots of fighting, quite funny at the same time because you get hurt, but you get to hurt them back, and yeah, it's pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah, when you think about the fight, I've heard a lot about fights and being physical and water polo because obviously you've also got the Eastern Europeans which are absolutely dominating at the moment. I think Croatia's ranked number one at the moment. Like, how does that come into the sport? Like, surely that was a big part of it.
Well, the average, let's say the GB senior team that I'm currently on, the average height is like, let's say, 6'5", 6'6". Like I'm on the shorter end of the team, and I'm like 6'2", 6'3". But then on the Serbian and these countries around there, they're all like average height of like 6'8", 6'9", like 110 kilos, just monsters. To be fair, I've not really had the chance to really play against them because I'm quite new to like the senior international game. But yeah, when you come up against these players that played in them countries, they're monsters. They're monsters.
Yeah, when you think
I'm
when
not
you,
gonna-
if you could just go on.
Yeah, I didn't realise they were that big. I
Yeah, yeah,
thought because when I played a little bit. Remember, I played like once or twice, and
yeah.
obviously, to be fair, that's local. That's like playing Sunday League.
Mm,
You're not coming up against the Ronaldos,
yeah,
but they sound massive.
yeah. No,
So if
well,
you played against people that big,
yeah. The biggest. So I've got a bit of a story about this actually. So it was my under 17 European qualifiers, and in our group we had Russia, Romania, um, Austria, and Slovenia. So we beat Finland, not Finland, Austria. They were pretty dead. Played Romania, they beat us, but they were the better team, and then Slovenia about the same. But Russia, I think we lost 32-3. I did score a bit of a screamer. I'll let you know about that. But, 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 before the game, my coach comes up to me and he goes, "They've got a centre. I'm at centre back, so I'm marking the monster." Okay, and my coach points to the side and he goes, "The only way we have a chance of winning this game is if we wind them up. We turn it into a bit of a scrap." So, and bear in mind, I'm 16 years of age, and I'm marking a stead-headed Russian centre forward, and and um, and he's gone first play when he's swimming up to you, ding him in the throat, like right in the neck, and so as he's doing that, as he's swimming up, like approaching me, I've like gone to like swing like straight there, and it's like 'cause obviously it's quite hard to punch through water. So basically, I did zero damage. Like I'm talking like not even a big, like not even a mini shield. Like it was nothing, no damage. Okay, so after that, from that play onward, he's clearly told all of his mates, "Oh, number three's throwing digs. Let's hurt him." But in water polo, it's very easy to like you can target someone out and you can punish them. Like you can hurt them. So basically, I had like at least on one so on the so they come and attack and then we defend for a bit. But then on their like counter defense, they can almost like they can swim up to you and stop you, and then a few people can almost like jump you a little bit, and then they can swim back. So basically,
I remember this. I remember that.
I had like two or three of them just like hurting me a bit, yeah, and it really quite hurt, yeah.
It sounds a
No,
bit
but
like
it's
you prodded the bear there. You prodded the bear
yeah,
there. You poked the bear.
yeah.
Yeah,
Don't pay. Don't
it was a
the
big
bear.
mistake.
Right. So, see, this is interesting though because this is, I guess, this shows a trust that you have in your coaches
Mm.
as a player, right? Does that trust that you've got when they tell you to do something like that and punch a massive 6'8" bold Russian in the throat?
Yeah.
Does that trust does that trust come over time from having the same coach for a while, or is that
Well,
something that no matter which coach asks you to do that, you do it?
well, in that instance, that was my under-17 coach Claudio Palumbo. I think you're having a segment about coaches. We'll go on to a bit more about him later, but I trusted him a lot. Probably the most experienced coach I've had. So if he told me to do something, run through a brick wall, whatever, it's getting done.
Class. Yeah, because I suppose get your coach getting you to do that. Like you say, you must have so much trust in him, and especially someone that big. And from what I would like to know, what's if you could design the perfect water polo player? Because obviously we know with swimming, it's obviously Michael Phelps is like top wingspan and everything like that. What are you looking for in an ideal water polo player?
Quite a well, obviously tall, like 6'8", and then like massive wingspan because obviously you can like shoot over people and like around people, and then also a lot of water polo is like it's a really physical sport, but a lot of it is like a mental game because you got to like whilst getting punched, swimming up and down, wrestling, you've also got to have the like space in your head to then think, all right, I'm getting punched, but how can I score from this or create for my teammates? Or so an example of probably the best player in the world at the minute, Dusan Mandic. Let's say I think he's like 6'8", left-handed, and in water polo, left-handed players are like a valuable, like it's rare. So if you're left-handed, it's like you're probably going to be pretty good. And yeah, he's like 6'8", balding. That's like I think that's a segment of being a good water polo player. I think they're all quite bold, and then yeah, just massive. I don't really know how to describe it outside of just being massive.
And just being kind of like fearless, play a massive
Yes.
part. Like you say. I mean, from to tell the viewers, obviously you two are brothers. We used to swim a lot. We'll go into that before you went into water polo, and you didn't used to be too big back in the day. You must have packed on a few pounds, eh?
Well, yeah, I've grown a little bit. Like I had a bit of a growth spurt quite late on, which I think quite helped me in my water polo career. To be fair, because let's say I was like on the shorter end of the squads all the time, so being short, you have to learn good technique to beat these bigger players. So I was young and small, so I learned the skills of a small player, and then I grew into myself, and I've maintained that skill set, which is pretty handy.
It's really interesting that because you think about players like Lionel Messi, like they're smaller guys, but their technique is just insane because they have to. You got Messi versus like Van Dijk,
Mm,
and you just have to, you know, not that I'm not sure that ever even occurred, but
yeah.
yeah, as I completely see where you're coming from, and that's an important aspect, 100%.
Yeah. So I guess now we can go back and talk about kind of the environment at home. So when we were growing up, kind of going through school and stuff, and how you developed as a person through sport, and how kind of family dynamics and being at school and things like that affected how you developed.
And how
Okay. So from since I was, I don't even know when I started sport, but that's all I can remember really. Playing, being pushed to do sport and doing, I like did a bit of football. Didn't really click with that, but that was like dad liked football, didn't he? But like I weren't the best at footy, so and she was already swimming at this point, so I thought I'd give that a go. She was like a little bit of a beast at that, like quite good at that. So thought I'd give that a go. doing that for a while. And swimming taught me quite a lot. Like, it taught me that I didn't want to swim, but it taught me discipline, that to succeed, you have to just work. Like, you just have to work. Like, there's no other way around it. You just got to outwork who's around you. But I got to about, I think I was about 13, 14 is my guess. 12, 13 maybe. And I was just a bit sick of it. Just didn't really enjoy the up and down all the time. So Helen Reeder, who you guys might know, was a swim coach, but also a water polo coach at South Derbyshire Waterpolo. And she said, "Oh, if you're not enjoying it, why don't you come down for a session?" And I went with Johnny Vasilev Necula to my first session. He was there as well. I don't think he took to it. Like, I don't think he enjoyed it as much. But yeah, and then I just kept going from there. And then after South Derby, I went to like the Midland level. Like, so it's like if you're good at your club, you then go to like an East Midlands, like a regional training session to then make a regional team. And that's like based off Nottingham, I think a little bit of Birmingham. Actually, no, that's West Midlands. Nottingham and Leicester. That's the East Midlands. Derby, them three. And I went to that session and met a few lads that I'm still staying in touch with to this day. That's probably one of the best things about water polo. You meet a lot of lads that just stay in touch with. It's a very cohesive sport. And obviously went to that East Midlands, played pretty well, got invited to the National Academy, which is like, I think it's like under 16s sort of thing, where all the good players, like top 3 players from each region, go to. And then from there, you get picked for a 13 to go to like other stuff. But yeah, I was quite good regionally. And then I made the National Academy. And at the time, I probably wasn't in the top 13 when I first got into the National Academy. It was a lot of those lads that just peak early, like 6'3" at like 14, that are just like maybe not the best technically, but they're just massive for their age, so they can just like beat you basically.
So when you were, you touched a bit on when you were swimming when you were younger and how that taught you a lot of the skills that you then took forward to this day. Can we kind of zoom into that a little bit more about what exactly you learned? Obviously, you were involved in a lot of the swimming that Shay and I were involved in, and those swim camps and the killer sessions that we talked about on the last podcast. So, do you want to kind of talk about that and your memories about that and what it taught you?
Well, swimming is the like epitome of a sport that is like purely a mental game. Like, obviously there's the physical attributes that go into it. Obviously the best in the world are still pretty massive in that, but it is the best people in the world that end up being the best at swimming are the people that work the hardest. There's no if, buts or maybes about that. But yeah, that just taught me that like you do just it was very transcendable into other sports, that I could like, if I work harder than them, it will eventually come good and it will eventually show that I've worked harder.
Fairs. Right. So let's just stay on swimming for a little bit. I want to understand kind of the differences in coaches between swimming and water polo. I know we shared a couple of coaches while we were swimming, for example, Mel and then a few others. So I kind of want to understand your thoughts on how kind of their attitude to either hard work, technique, or kind of their general demeanor changes between water polo and swimming.
Well, I'd say the main difference between the two sports in terms of coaching is that water polo is a very technical sport and swimming is a very physical sport. So a coach's swimming, I'd say predominantly half the job is to make sure that the people swimming are working hard and being pushed. And then I'd say in water polo, half majority of the job is making sure what they're doing is right, and they're setting them up to have have good technique for when they're older. So, well, obviously there's elements of technique in swimming, and that's where Melanie Marshall comes in. Probably for me, well, I've not really had many swimming coaches, but we've seen what she's done with the swimmers that she's coached. And I've had a few coaches in the water polo sense. They've taught me a lot of things. I previously mentioned Claudio. When I went, he took me away to Italy for 3 weeks with me and a few other lads to train with Italian players, which is like a complete different level to what I've been playing with. So I learned a lot technique wise and also tactically wise. But yeah, that's the
Let's
main difference, I'd
let's
say.
let's zoom in on that a little bit more. Like, so you say Claudio. So Claudio, how has he kind of impacted you? And you said you went to Italy. Just so, how
So,
did he kind of make you the player you are? Because obviously you're pushing into the senior GB squad now. He's doing something right, right? So
mm,
what is he doing right?
well, Claudio in his playing time, he was the so in a water polo like football, the starting 11, water polo is the starting 7. He was the 7th man on the best team in Europe about I don't know 40 years ago. So at one point, he was probably like a top 50 player in the world, top 40 maybe. So you can only imagine the experience and the things he's seen and the things that he's come up against that he can pass on to the like younger generation. So the main thing he taught me was that just win your individual battle and you'll win. Just don't take any shit. Either punch first and punch hard, or if you do get punched, punch harder, and then if he punch you again, you just keep going because they'll eventually give up if you don't give. But yeah, that's predominantly a lot of the things he taught me was mainly about the mental side of the game. Because by that point, I was a bit of a, I was more, I was like 16, 17 maybe. So I was like kind of polished. Like he didn't teach me when I was like 10. So he's not teaching me the like groundworks, but he did level me up in the mental sense, like that being able to like, there's like different defenses in water polo. Like in basketball, there's like zones, for example. So in my first session, I was training with Pasilipo Water Polo Club in Italy, and first swim down with the ball, pass it off, and then without even saying a word, these Italian lads around my age go into this zone that I'd never seen before, and I never know how to break down or whatever, and they instantly steal the ball off me and swim down the other end. Claudio calls a timeout, pulls me to the side, and just quickly explains how to break that down. And the next play, make the clinical pass for us to finish. But it's things like that that British coaches lack because they've obviously not played at that level. Like Claudio is, and there's probably another 2 coaches in the UK that are like, there's a Croatian guy who coaches at Watford and there's a Greek guy who coaches at Manchester. But realistically, I wouldn't say there's a English coach that can match what these European coaches can offer.
Yeah, and I think, well, from at least what I understand about water polo, there's, and I don't know if it's still the case, there's been a massive lack of funding from English swimming, British swimming, whatever you want to call it, because I think they're all under the same funding umbrella.
Yeah.
Swimming, diving, water polo, right? And because of the results that swimming and diving get, I'm assuming
Yeah.
the money just gets funneled that way. But then you're in a never-ending cycle of not
Yeah.
having enough money, getting the results, and then because you're not getting the results, just still not getting the money, right?
Yeah. It's really quite hard. It's like right now we're in a kind of like restart phase. Like our coach has said, we're not having anyone in the squad over the age of 27 because he's trying to not necessarily trying to be good now. He's trying to be good in 4 years when the next European qualifiers are. So that's when we're aiming to have the push where we qualify and then hopefully because on the women's side they're doing really well and they're getting backed by these you said umbrellas backed by these umbrella uh, companies or whatever and they're doing really well, they're getting funding, they're having coaches flown in and out to help them out, they're going on camps here there and everywhere, and that's with that sort of backing I think that the England men's team could really do better, but until we have that success it's going to be hard to get that.
And does the underdog mentality come into it at all? Because I remember when we were at City of Derby, Joel, I remember we had the mentality of, you know what, we're like not highest ranked and we don't have these to be fair, Repton was quite good, but we don't have these insane facilities that certain other clubs have. So we're just going to outwork everyone and try to get the best results. Is that something kind of culture-wise within the GB senior team that you're experiencing?
Yeah, there's also a sense of, because we're a young side, we go into every game like, I don't want to sway words, but F it, like, we're going to give it a shot. If we don't win, we don't win, but we're going to go out like giving it our best shot. And then, yeah, it's just, well, all these other countries are getting all like a lot of benefit. Like, we played Netherlands at the most recent European qualifiers, and out of their 14 players that they took, every single one's on a professional contract, whether it be Italy, even in the Netherlands, Germany, they're all over the place. They even had a guy who's most recently played in the Champions League final for Novi Beograd, which is the top team in Serbia. He was ridiculously good. He's probably the best player that I've ever like played like in front of me. He was a joke. But yeah, it's just the chance to, I know when we played the Netherlands, we got absolutely destroyed. But for me, it was the chance to play these players that you're never really going to get to like play against, really, because GB don't enter that many things. So when you get the opportunity to play these insane players, you've got to take your chance and try and show like that GB can be something in the future.
Yeah, because I guess in your polo career now, you're at that critical stage where you're just learning so much. You might be getting absolutely dominated like by these 30, 40-year-olds, but it's about learning now. So in 10, even 20 years time, you're on top and
Yeah,
you've learned all this stuff, and now you're that person that's
because
you've
I'd say
got
like
this technique and you
the peak age for a water polo, I'd say is like 28, 29. And I'd say I'm
20.
21 now, so that's like 8 years of growth as a player. Because all like the senior men's team, our senior age, I mean, our average age in our senior men's team is 23. And if you look at the Spains, the Serbias, the Hungary, we're talking 28. Like, it's a complete different. We've basically got a junior side going against them, but it's a learning curve.
Right. So, Corran, you've been with swimming, you've done swimming, and obviously there's some insanely hard sessions, right? In polo, what is what would you consider a hard session? Like you're going and that's your extremely hard session because I guess it's all about gameplay. It's like cricket. How can you train cricket without it being a match against another team? So in polo, what's kind of what's your regular training, and then what's a hard session when you haven't got like a Romanian team on the other side of the pool? How does the training work?
Well, like a regular session, which is like what I go to on like Sheffield training, would be 20 minutes warm up swim, and then go on to 10 to 15 minutes legs. Like by legs, I mean like egg beater. I don't know if you'd know that. Yeah, egg beater, like stroke to warm your legs, and like jumping. And then you could also do like someone on the side with like a medicine ball, and you like with your arms out, they're dropping it on you, and you've got to like stay. You got to have like your chest out all the time with it being dropped on you, and then throw it back up. That's quite difficult, but then after the legs, you then get onto the passing with a heavier ball, like a weighted one, which that like. But then by the time you get onto the normal balls, they feel like you're throwing around like nothing. You can wang it about, and then go on to like a little bit of scrimmaging, practice man up, man down. Man up, man down is like in water polo. Basically, majority of attacks, someone will be slung out for like a foul that's like a little bit heavier than normal. So then you get the man up attack where you play 6-on-5, and that's where majority of your goals are scored in water polo on the 6-on-5 scenario. And then they'll probably scrimmage for a bit, and then that's about it really. That's just a casual session. And then I'd say my hardest session that I had to do, which involved quite a lot of swimming. This is when I just got onto the under-19 team. This was like I was on the team, and this was like, I think it was almost like a test. We did 2200s. Can't remember what time we were on, but it was 2200s. And then straight after that, we went into an 8-quarter match against, like, amongst each other. And it was basically just, I think the coach was basically just seeing, like, who by the end of it still, like, even if they're just like just doing terrible technique and they're like knackered, it was just to see who's like got that dog or whatever, like got that mindset that can just keep going.
Yeah, who's got the grit, I guess.
Because in previous podcasts, Shay and I have talked about how Mel Marshall used to talk about being a multi-sports athlete for as long as possible, like do a bit of everything at school, and she used to encourage that upon the parents. Do you think, what sport do you reckon would be coupled with water polo the best? Because from what I've heard, potentially like MMA or boxing, something where you're grappling,
Or
or
like
even like American football,
something like
where you're
rugby, I think.
manipulating people's hands.
I'd say,
What do you think would be paired up the best?
all the like top water polo players are all like black belt in like jiu-jitsu.
That's really interesting, you know.
Like Felipe Peroni he's been the Spanish captain for the past like 8 years, probably like one of the best playmakers in the sport, and he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And it's like you can like see, like George Reader is really good at jiu-jitsu, and he's quite good at water polo, and it shows because like especially in the centre back position where there's a lot of like grappling, it's like manipulating their body to like put them in a weaker position. So like a mixture of like jiu-jitsu, anything quite like physical. Like there's a lot of like, it's just a lot of grappling and like trying to manipulate their body to put them in a position where you can put them somewhere so you can get the ball to do something else, basically.
So when we were younger, right, Joel? So this is kind of, and for the listeners, this is kind of what it was like living with Cos, because he was obsessed with water polo. Yeah. And I'd be on a nice Saturday, kind of 10, 11 o'clock, or in the Saturday afternoon. I've come back from a 5 till 7 a.m. swim at Utoxeter Pool, and I've come home and I just want to have a nap. That's all I want to do. Next thing I hear, because he's just standing in the garden for hours on end, throwing a water polo ball at the house and catching it and just doing that back to himself over and over. I guess it's that repetition. I don't know if you saw improvements from doing that, but those like thousands and thousands of reps, just repeating your technique over and over, must have had positive impacts.
Yeah, that definitely helped my hand-eye coordination. It's like footballers like Phil Foden, or saw something about Cantona doing it, just up against the wall, fizzing the ball at it and just catching it, like testing reactions. I even had that ball that was like quite weirdly shaped. So like you throw it against the wall and it bounce in a random direction, you got to catch it and just react to where it goes. So yeah, that whole reaction times, ball handling skills, that's like probably one of the key skills in the sport, being able to hold the ball and manipulate it to move the goalie, move the player in front of you and finish it.
Yeah, and I think I guess it's the same in gameplay as well, isn't it? The more you can play when you're kind of pushing off people. I remember talking about how when you're transitioning from attacking to defending, how you can almost push off people like they're the wall of the swimming pool and swim back and stuff like that. It's just kind of having the experience of the little things that can make you better.
Because say if I'm defending and I'm marking someone and they shoot the ball, it's like a rule that you swim into them and just wrestle them with the intent that you swim into them, wrestle them, put them behind you. Because then if you're swimming and they pull you back, they've sent out, and then you get the 6-on-5, and that's where your highest percentage of getting goals are. So you hit the shooter, or when you do realize you are in front of someone, you cut in front of them to make them pull you back, or it's just any chance. We're in water polo, any chance to gain an advantage, you need to snap at it. There's no miss. You can't miss an opportunity to gain that advantage, because if you miss, you lose the game. You just got to take that chance.
Yeah, I guess you got to identify almost the weak link in their team,
Hmm.
and all of you play around. I don't know if that's like a bit of a tactic. Like before you've even got in the pool, you can almost tell who the weak link is, and then play the ball kind of around them. Is
Hmm.
that kind of a big part of it as well?
Yeah, you call them cods in Waterpolo. Like he's a cod, so you'd like say if you know he's not the best shooter, you'd zone off him. Like you drop off him to help the middle of the pool to then make them do a bad shot, and then we go on the counter. But another like example of that, another thing Claudio told me, it was like I'd say he's like 5'5", 5'6". Bear in mind at the time he's probably top 40 player in the world, and he's 5'6". Bear in mind the average height of the top 40 are probably 6'7". So you can imagine every time he gets in the pool, he's getting targeted. So he was like a master of the dark arts, so to speak. He would not like he'd either always do something first, or if they did something to them, if he did something to him, he's doing something way worse back. That will make him not like anything. It's like he was. I can't quite say some of the stuff he's done to people, but he was telling me the things he's done to get the better of someone, and it's like pretty crazy, pretty nuts.
Yeah, I'm quite shocked actually at how physical water polo is. I'd no idea it was that physical. But I read recently that they've changed the whole point system in world like polo, that it's now not just the game, it's also about whether you're playing home and away, what your ranking is at the time, and other factors as well. Do you know about that or
Um, in the Champions League, I think that is like on the in that segment there is like home and away weighting because it goes because last season it was one game and never had the highest seeding gets the home fixture at the time, but now it's two fixtures, one at each pool, and obviously say if I don't know one team wins it, it's like Champions League if away goals count as a like point 0.5 I think, or I'm not really sure, but they have a better weighting.
so you've been in a crazy match, right? Say you're playing like the Russians or the Croatians, and you've been there's been a bit of punching going on, a bit of scratching, a bit of grappling, and now how does it work that you're now going back into the same changing room? Is it what's kind of how does that work? Because obviously it's football, you shake hands at the end of the game most of the time, and you're all good. But after you've been punching each other, you can't speak the other person's language. How is that working?
It's like an unwritten rule that's like what happens in the pool stays in the pool. But obviously you get those people that can't hack it, that like try and have it out after, but they get laughed at and mocked. Like it's like if you're that rattled because I've hit you hard, like you shouldn't be playing the sport. Like it's just part of the sport. Realistically, you're gonna get hit hard, and you either punch him back or you whine about it. That's realistically how it goes.
Yeah, because I did. It's funny because you might like obviously there is MMA sports out there, all sorts of martial arts, and the sports personship that goes on is like after you always shake hands after, and you look like a right, whatever if you don't shake the person's hand. Because I recently did my first jujitsu session, right,
Okay.
at the weekend, and I did it at the Barra Gracie in London. Barra Gracie's a famous one of the first big players in mixed martial arts in the UK. And there was a picture on the wall at the end, like almost like Karate Kid, you know. And everyone has to look at the picture and bow before we start. And there was so much of that you're grappling with someone. I've just been thrown over the shoulder, but then you just at the end it's just you just have a laugh. You shake each other's hand. You shake the coach's hand. There's loads of little cultural things that you have to do, almost like golf. You don't take your bag. You don't wheel your bag across the tee or whatever. What in polo is a kind of unwritten things you have to do that you know that are just part of the game.
But it's like with any sport that's like quite physically demanding and quite like aggressive. I feel like it takes there's a mutual respect to like do it. Like when I come up against players that also play water polo, and we're both giving it and we're just firming it. It's like there's a mutual respect there that's like, I respect him as a man because he's firming it, and he respects me as a man because I'm firming it, and we're not whining about it. It's like you go into that gym, you're all going there, that fighting gym you mentioned, you go in there and everyone's working in there to get better at defending themselves. So there's that mutual respect, and that like you might go in that gym for the next 6 weeks and get beaten up, but people that are doing it have the respect for you because you're learning that you're gonna keep going because you're trying to better yourself. There's that respect there.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
And it's,
really interesting.
yeah, it's the same even in the gym. Like, sometimes people think, say, if they're insecure about going to the gym, whether they're trying to lose weight or gain weight or whatever it is, people think people that are there that are massive and strong or look really good or are really experienced in the gym will be judging them. But it's actually the opposite. And I think it's a similar sort of thing where people at the gym respect people that go that
Yeah,
might be a bit insecure or might feel like they don't really belong at the gym. They respect that a lot more because they know how hard it is to go and get it done.
yeah.
Yeah,
Smash
it's
someone
funny
up.
because when you're in the gym sometimes, you might go weeks on end thinking that this one guy is the absolute dog of the gym. You don't speak to him, and then suddenly, you go over and ask for a plate, or he comes over and he just realizes he's just a normal bloke, and then have a nice conversation with you. Because everyone's there, again, like we say, everyone's there to get better. No one's judging anyone really. And if you are, you shouldn't really,
Yeah, you're
what are you
weird
doing
if
there?
you're judging people, which is a bit weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, it's a really interesting point.
So yeah, just before we finish, I wanted to ask you if there are any more stories of a really tense moment or something that got a bit out of hand in either training or a match that you can share with us, just to kind of give an outline of just how intense a water polo match or training session can get.
So, got to go with this. So, my coach Martin, who's been my coach for, let's say, I think I joined Sheffield when I was like 15, so like 6 years ish. Let's say 6 years. And his kids play water polo. I play with Elliot, his like middle son, who's like 30 odd, and then he's got an older lad called Tom, who's like 35 odd, and he is a bit of a like he throws his weight around, and he just and I've bear in mind I've trained with the guy like 10 times, probably even gone to the pub with him, and so he gets a job down south. He starts playing for Watford, and then we're playing Watford, and this just shows the sport. It's just how it is. We're playing Watford, and I'm having quite a good game, and he switches onto me and just nails me in the face, punches me straight in the face, and I'm in that predicament where this is my coach's son, and like I either punch him back, and he probably just punched me back. Like, by the way, this guy was like a titan. Like, I'm talking like he is a like. I didn't in the end. I didn't punch him back because I was just like put me in a bit of an awkward situation, being it the coach's son, and I've trained with him like a load of times, and it was just quite a weird situation. But in the end, I just outplayed. Didn't choose to fight him back. Just chose to outplay him. I think I scored like 4 or 5 that game, but that just shook. But then after the game, we get out, shake hands, and it's not that deep. Like it's just part of the game, and that's probably the one thing that I love about it. It's like it teaches you how to. I feel like for me, water polo's taught me how to be a man. Being surrounded by a load of like senior, always being around older people because, look, like I say, I'm kind of good, so I've always had to like play up, like play with seniors or play with like older lads. And I've always been around older people, so it's taught me a lot about being mature and being a man, really.
Yeah, it's really interesting you say that. And do you guys have to wear gum shields?
You can do, but it's like you look a bit wet. Like, you look a bit like
Because if you're getting punched in the face, surely some people have lost some teeth.
yeah, like but it's almost like it gives you like a target. Like if I was marking someone who's wearing a gum shield, I'd be like, okay, I'll punch there then.
Poor bloke. So his wife or whatever is making him wear the gum shield, and he's absolutely getting targeted at water polo.
That's another
Yeah,
story,
she's
actually.
like, I don't want to kiss a split lip, mate. She's
Yeah.
going, where's the gum shield? Yeah.
It was when we were playing Edinburgh. This was the one time I punched. I never really punched first. I always like if they punch me, I punch them back just to be like, okay. But the one time I did punch first, playing Edinburgh University away, and it's like the first play, and I'm marking this guy who's absolutely rapid. Like he's crap at what polo, but like he's rapid. Like he's making me really tired. So he swims like really fast into me, and as he's like swimming into me, I've just like left my fist like and I just punched him straight in the neck. And like he just like swam to the side, like reported to the side, like mid game, like just ran, like swam to the side, like climbed out, like like holding his neck, and he like told the coach, and the coach was just like basically just called him a wimp.
What are you doing?
Like,
Get back
like,
in the pool.
but then after that, I just did feel a bit dread. Like it was a bit mean, but like yeah, just
It's
making me
weird
tired.
because that's obviously not in the rules, right? You're not allowed to hit people in the face,
No,
but
you're not. You're
but
not allowed
everyone
to do
seems to do it. So where's the line in water polo where you're going to get a red card, yellow card? Like, how does that work?
the rule. It's like the rule kind of is just like you can do what you want until you get caught. So like you can punch people all you want, but if the ref but eventually if you just continue like because obviously if it's above the water, the ref's going to see. Like if you just go over the top and just hit someone like that, like you're going to get caught. But it's the art of being like disguising it and or even making it look like an accident. I often like just like pretend I'm like behind someone like
You give it a little.
and then
Oh no!
the swim stroke was, and then just throw one of them into the back of the head, like ding, like that, and then
In the back of the head.
yeah, no, I got
It's
punched in
funny
the face
because
by a German guy, and I went lightheaded for like 3 minutes, like it was nuts.
yeah, that's called concussion.
That's good concussion.
Yeah, so it's funny because you look at sports like hockey, ice hockey. I'm talking about where where it almost you stop that illegal stuff because you make it legal. It's like a fight's going on, the refs crowd around, they wait till someone falls over or someone. It's almost like that could happen in water polo, but it's in water. So if someone accidentally gets knocked out or goes unconscious or gets a bit dazed, it's way more dangerous, isn't it? So you almost can't make it a legal thing unless they have like a boxing ring down the side of the pool. And
But
if you get in a little scrap, then you swim to the side, you get out, and you just go to town.
yeah, it is quite hard to like generate enough power to like knock someone out in water though. Like if because obviously if you just went out of the water and just like overhanded someone like straight to the face, like that would really hurt. But you're gonna get red carded. So if you're punching someone under the water and like disguising it, it hurts enough for them to feel it, but it's not gonna like do them that badly.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm assuming right because if most of the stuff happens underwater and referees can't see it, I'm assuming when it gets to things like the Olympics or because I've seen videos of the Olympics where they have underwater cameras so you can see everything that's happening. I'm
Yeah,
assuming people play a lot cleaner when they
yeah,
know those cameras are on them.
yeah. At the top level, there's like VAR now, so that like physical side of the game at the top level, I think it is gonna like there's still that part of the game now, but I'd say in like 10, 15 years that side of the game will be dying because obviously there'll be cameras. Like it will never die at the like local level because not every pool's gonna choose to invest in a camera under the pool into the water, but like at the top, like the Olympics and all that, there's never really gonna be that sort of thing going on because it's very easy to catch.
Thanks to everyone for listening. Please remember to like, subscribe, share with your friends. And this has been the Sports Influence Podcast. Thanks everyone for listening again. And that's a wrap on this episode of the Sports Influence. Massive thanks to Corran for coming on and giving us an insight on what it's like to be a GB water polo player. From early club days to fights underwater, I hope this gave you a deeper insight into what it's like to play water polo at the highest level. If you like this video, make sure to follow and subscribe on whichever platform you're listening. And if you're on Spotify or Apple, please make sure to leave a like and a review. It will really help us out. We've got plenty more episodes on the way with athletes, coaches, and some really interesting guests coming up. Follow us on socials at the Sports Influence Pod on Instagram and TikTok. And thanks again for listening. We'll see you again soon on the Sports Influence.